It's time to talk about the important issues for the natural state. And there's only one place to turn for that. Opportunity Arkansas's Nick Horton. You can find Nick's work at opportunityarkansas.org.
And welcome back to First News, just about 20 minutes in front of 8 o'clock. And yes, it does mean it's time for Nick Horton to join us, the founder and CEO of Opportunity Arkansas. Nick, welcome back to the show. How are you this week?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How about you, brother?
Very good, very good. So, Nick, we've hit on this in the past, especially the polling, because Opportunity Arkansas recently had some education freedom polling done that showed that 2 out of 3 Arkansans support universal education freedom. 81% of Arkansas voters with school-age kids support it. And so with knowing those numbers, why are we seeing certain school districts, and as of this week includes Little Rock School District, joining a lawsuit against the LEARNS Act? And I guess what the school districts are saying is that the LEARNS Act depletes their resources. And so what do we think is going on here, and why do we think these school districts feel like they need to take legal action?
Well, yeah, great question. A lot to unpack. I think the why is relatively simple, and that's that a lot of these failing schools, public schools in Arkansas, have been beneficiaries of a one-size-fits-all education system for decades and decades, really throughout the entire history of our state. And now that's at risk, because now they have real competition with private schools, home schools, micro schools, any type of educational setting around the state of Arkansas that parents choose is best for their kids and their kids' learning needs. Now public schools have to compete with that. And that's a really good thing. You mentioned the polling.
That's right.
The research on this is really clear. We've already started to see some really strong evidence that academic outcomes are going up because of this. I mean, this is only really just beginning, but the short answer is it's a threat. It's a threat to the status quo. It's a threat to the education establishment. It always has been. They're going to continue to fight. They're going to come back with their same failed ideas through the ballot amendment next year, which we're gearing up to take on again. But it's a last plea. It's a Hail Mary. It's an act of desperation. That's really what it is.
Well, and I mean, Nick, I feel like it really falls into, people don't like change. Change is hard, but it's also the only thing that's permanent in life is change. And I think that, seeing people, especially those involved in the public school system, saying, we've got to completely change everything that we do and look at this from a whole different angle, and they're fighting that. And I feel like that is a lot of what's going on with this as well. I want to go back, Nick, to go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, it's a great point. Like, change is hard. And one of the things we work on, it's core to our organization, is even our tagline, our motto is homegrown ideas for real change. And that's intentional. That's an intentional focus of ours, because when we look at Arkansas, it's a state that we all love. It's a state that has exceptional potential, but it's only ever going to be potential unless things change. We've tried it this way for 150 years. We've tried record government dependency and record levels of crime and one-size-fits-all schools. We know the results that we get from that. And, there may be some discomfort. There may be some pain. There may be some difficulty with transitioning out of some of these generational problems. But we have to do that. I mean, no pain, no gain, right? That's the expression. We've got to make difficult decisions if we're going to leave Arkansas better than we found it.
Yeah. Well, and kind of in that same vein, going back to something we were talking about last week, just wanted to continue this conversation. I saw you posted some crime stats from Conway, and this was in regards to what you and I were talking about last week, with Conway asking for more tax money to pay for more venues around the city, things that would make the city grow potentially. But what did these crime numbers tell you? And more importantly, how do you get resources directed towards the crime type of issues and away from building amphitheaters and things like that? Because obviously one's a lot more fun than the other, to be honest with you.
Well, it is, but the reality of the crime crisis that we're seeing across the state of Arkansas, certainly right there in Little Rock, the homicide rate, the crime spree that we've seen there over the last 5 or 6 years, that's well above the national average. That is just a real threat. It's a real threat to economic opportunity. And that's been, as a taxpayer, as a citizen of the Conway area, the Conway community, that's my concern. You can build a boardwalk around Lake Conway. You can build an amphitheater and a convention center and a theater, performance theater downtown, and all these wonderful, shiny things. But guess what? If it's not safe to go downtown, if there's nowhere to park,
won't matter.
and the downtown continues to flood, which has been an ongoing problem here in Conway, and then if it's not safe for people to go and enjoy these things, they're just going to sit empty. And so it's just a total lack of prioritization. It's a putting the cart before the horse, if you will. We've had a real serious problem, a real serious spike, as a lot of cities have.
That's right.
Coming out of the pandemic. But we can't ignore that. And the worst thing we could do, which seems to be the pushback from the people that are pushing the tax and the special interest groups that want this, no, don't talk about that. Everything's fine. No, don't talk about the crime crisis, even if you've been victimized by it, as I and many others and family and friends have been. Like, don't bring that up, because if you do, it's bad for Conway. It's going to hurt Conway. It's going to hurt business in Conway, and it's going to hold us back. And the reality is, the longer we ignore problems, and this is true in the welfare system and in our tax code and all the issues that we work on across the state, solving problems requires having real, honest conversations about those problems. We can't get to solutions as long as we keep our head in the sand and we pretend that everything is wonderful. So it's not negativity, it's not cynicism, it's reality.
From a logistics standpoint, so this is going to go on the ballot, right? That vote's coming up in November, is that correct?
November 18th.
Okay,
yep.
November.
Just approved by the city council a few weeks ago, and it's going to be at a special election on November 18th here in Conway.
And so, if this fails, which obviously we don't want more taxes. Hardly anybody wants to pay more taxes at this point. Really doesn't matter what it's for. But how would you direct? How do you go about? I'm just looking at logistics here. How do you go about say, okay, we voted this down. I'm talking about after November 18th, if that happens, hypothetically, we voted this down. We're not going to pay the new taxes. How do you get something to where money, and obviously not approved by voters, maybe it's approved by city council, but how do you get money directed towards the crime issue? How do you build up the police force? How do you get the resources to go there that maybe we're going to go to building these amphitheaters and things like that? How do you get that turned into something that would support the crime situation?
Well, if I was in charge, Toby, and I probably won't be for the record, but if I was and I was king for a day, I was king of Conway, I would do something really crazy, and I hope you're sitting down for this.
I am.
But I would sit down with a blank sheet of paper, and I would redo the entire city budget, and I would allocate for every dollar that goes to parks and tourism and Christmas trees and all these other things, I would put $2 or $1.50. I don't know the exact number yet because I'm not king yet. But if I was, I would sit down with a blank sheet of paper and I would redo everything. I mean, I'll just say, we're doing this at Opportunity Arkansas right now. We're a growing organization. We've realized there were some things in the first 3 years that we needed to spend money on, we needed to allocate for. We don't need that anymore. We're sitting down with a blank sheet of paper, good old-fashioned zero-based budgeting, and we're saying, what do we actually need? What's actually best for the organization? What's actually best for our supporters? What's actually best for the people of Arkansas? That's what cities and counties and state government should be doing, good old-fashioned zero-based budgeting. Sit down with a blank sheet of paper, cut the fat. They love to say, well, we've already done, there's no fat, we can't cut anywhere, we're out of money. That's totally unreasonable. Everybody knows that's not true. You can find the money when you want to find the money. Now, will they be able to fully fund the theater and the boardwalk and all these other wants? Maybe not. But that's part of being a leader. That's part of leadership, is sitting down and making the tough choices and prioritizing. And instead of just spending all the money, we just built this community center here in Conway, this water park that, if I recall correctly, don't quote me on this, but something like $10 million over budget.
Woo.
And that was just that was this calendar year.
Yeah.
I mean, so the mayor's come out now and said, yeah, we're $95 million in debt as a city. $95 million.
That's crazy.
So something is wrong, something is off, and rather than what government always does, city, county, local, state, federal, certainly all the way up, they run out of money and they want more of ours. They never stop and figure out, well, where is the money leaking out? Where are the holes in the boat? Let's figure out how we're prioritizing our spending, making sure that we're prioritizing. And again, that's a lot of my message, and a lot of the message of the citizens of Conway who are concerned about this tax right now is we haven't given firemen a pay increase in a very long time, which seems like it's well overdue. You talk to anyone in the Conway Police Department or law enforcement community, and they'll tell you, yeah, I mean, we saw this in Searcy when I lived there and was involved there. Mm-hmm. They bring in young police officers, they get them in, they get them trained, and within 2 or 3 years of experience, they go to Little Rock and North Little Rock because they can make a lot more money, they get better benefits. There's a lot of appeal for that. So pay our police officers the best in the state of Arkansas. Like pay them at the top rate. Increase the number of police officers. Like there's a lot of, I don't want to say easy solutions because it all takes money and leadership, but a lot of really simple solutions.
Yeah, things that could be figured out. So this will be interesting. November 18th is when this vote comes up in Conway. So, of course, we'll be tracking it. Nick will help us stay well informed on it. Do want to remind people tomorrow on Thursday, every Thursday now at 4:35, we have another Opportunity Arkansas segment. It's on the Steve Finnegan Show with Jay Robertson. And so make sure you tune into that tomorrow afternoon at 4:35. Have you talked to Jay about this segment yet, Nick? Is he having a good time, or do we need to get in there and rattle some cages?
Oh, he's loving it, and it's been a really great experience for him, and great for Opportunity Arkansas to get the message out. And yeah, it's been great.
Always fun to hang out with Steve.
Well, of course. On the tax thing, by the way, because I know you have a big listening audience. There's also going to be November 18th. Like Sherwood is going to have a special tax election. I believe there's a couple more cities in your listening area. I'll try to get a list of them for you for next week.
I was going to say,
but there's a lot of tax elections coming up.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot coming up.
Let's run down the list.
These special elections are always the way, and we've done some work to try to make those less sporadic and on a more predictable calendar, but they're still not attached to a regular election. Like there's no regular election happening in November, other than these tax increases, and voters generally don't know about that. So we got to make sure people know and they show up and vote.
Well, make sure you check out all of Nick's work. It's at opportunityarkansas.org. That is the website. He's also on all the social sites as well, as far as Twitter and X and Facebook, and they've got a great YouTube channel that you should check out as well. Nick, on the way out, you said if you're a king for a day, do you think there'd be no King's protests? You think that would happen?
I'm confident that there would be, yes.
I would hope so.
Probably from even some of my friends and family, to be honest.
Potentially. All right, man. Well, we'll catch up next week, all right?
All right. Thanks, Toby.